Scene 71, take one.
I'm Jake Botz, and I came from Chicago, Illinois. I got off of the Greyhound bus and I divinated my way down here sometime the end of '96. I got to the American Hotel. I had a friend who was here. We shared a place for a little while. And it became clear pretty quickly that that room wasn't big enough for the both of us. So I had to find a way to make some money. I was a musician. I had a guitar. That's about all I had. Whatever else I could fit in a guitar case, maybe a pair of underwear. And I went down with that guitar to the office one day and I talked to Mark Kreisel. And I said, hey man, you know what you need to do? You need to hire me to play in your bar. And he said, well, a lot of people tell me what I need to do. And I said, give this a listen, you know. I played some old ragtime and blues rhythm. I don't want to be your man at all. Let me be that salty dog. Oh, that salty dog. You know, I got into all of that, and he said, hey, man, I will pay you $60 to come and play every Friday at Al's bar. By this time, I figured out a little bit how the guy thinks. I said, well, look, so that's $60 times 4, that's $240 out of your pocket. What you could do is give me one of those empty rooms up in the hotel, and then you're not out of pocket anything. And he said, yeah, but that room goes for $300. I said, well, money out of your pocket or no money out of your pocket, you always got an empty room. So he agreed to give me a free room in exchange for playing in the bar once a week for the unhappy hour. I would go down there and play, and of course I became friends with everybody that worked here and lived here, and free beer anytime I wanted it. You know, was living a kind of a dream life really for a good couple of years. Now the welfare office is right around the corner, as you know. I went and got my tramp stamps. Now, see, I was a heroin addict. I came here from Chicago behind seeing my girlfriend in bed with another guy, and I thought, well, I gotta get the hell out of here. Go to L.A., I'll get cleaned up in L.A. So I get here and I realize the dope spot's just down the street. Half the people in this hotel, the artists, were strung out on some or other. So I had arrived. I had a free place to live, I had some food stamps, I had a good connection with the dope man. I thought, I'm home. I came to Los Angeles to await Judgment Day. I came here because this is where all the money's at. You know, I'm shaking these palm trees, waiting for the coconuts to fall down, trying to get a couple of them for myself, you know, trying to put some of that money in my own pocket. Most of the people that I tended to gravitate towards were the people that also had dope habits. There was a dude named Richie, and his girlfriend was a stripper. She would go meet with these guys at Denny's. They would give her some money just to hang out with them. He would tell himself these crazy stories. Of course, she's turning tricks, to make money. And they had all the really good connections where you could buy some weight. And they would oftentimes throw me a little piece under my door right here in room 320. So I'd wake up to that in the morning, I think misery likes company, and they wanted some company. My friendships with the people around the music scene, they were a little on the shallow side. I mainly played music as a hustle. It was mainly how I made money to get drugs. So I'd meet people and they'd say, where do you see your career going? Record contract, blah, blah, blah. And I'd say, you got $25 right now?
I said, what I got in my pocket. I don't know, I don't really carry cash very often,
So music was a hustle for me. And then I started smoking that crack and my voice started to go. And that was a problem, because if you can't sing, you can't make that money, you can't get high, or you can't get straight, you can't get right. So something had to go. So the cigarettes, I quit the cigarettes. I kept smoking that crack and shooting dope, but I quit the cigarettes so I could keep playing music. Keep playing Al's bar, keep my room. We did the unhappy hour like 5:30 to 7:30 or 8. So before people got really rowdy, but right before the bands would start at night. So I played, hillbilly music and blues and original songs. Come listen, you fellas, so young and so fine. Seek not your fortune in a dark, dreary mine. There was this artist dude named Phil who would always come in and keep screaming the name of this one song till I played it. Till the stream of your blood runs as black as the coal. It's dark as a dungeon way down in the mine, the old country classic by Merle Travis. And I didn't realize till years later it's because I think he was around that dungeon scene, like his old lady was a dominatrix or something like that. So I think there was some special meaning for him that I didn't know at the time. And where the rain never falls, the sun never shines, it's dark as a dungeon way down in the mines. That sound system, I'm sure, was just terrible. But what it had was a nice wood floor to stomp your feet with. So I got this big fat sound with my feet. It was great. I got that nice John Lee Hooker vibe up there. Playing solo was cool because I wasn't blowing out the speakers, with everything cranked all the way up to 12. People could enjoy themselves in the bar and not be totally overpowered by the music. The thing about blues, when it's done right, it's very raw, it's very, heartfelt, and it goes along with punk rock. People hadn't totally made that discovery in a mainstream way the way they do now, like Johnny Cash did those records before he died, and people started to get that there was a connection between punk rock and blues and old-timey American music. But this was before all of that. Al's Bar was, progressive or regressive enough to do that kind of thing, but apparently they had always had country bands come and play there during the punk rock days. It was a perfect fit for me, and people seemed to like it.
American Hotel, Al's Bar.
Toast and I were pretty good friends. I really liked Toast. He got me to get a membership to the YMCA downtown. There was about a couple of weeks we actually went and tried to be healthy, go swimming and things like that. Didn't cure me of heroin addiction, but did make me feel like I was doing something going in the other direction. Old crotchety Joel Bloom, can't miss that guy. But, we're both from Chicago, so we had that in common. He reminded me of, guys I knew in Chicago that had that kind of angry personality like that because they were, they sort of use it as a defense mechanism. They get afraid of people getting too close, think they got to have this big front. We'd sort of like alternate between commiserating about what it's like living in Chicago and commiserating what it's like living in L.A. and thinking that Chicago was better. But what was cool about Downtown L.A. actually was that it reminded me so much of Chicago, the way Chicago was downtown when I was a kid. Had all this life, had all these old theaters that were still open. I used to leave here and I would go downtown and for $1 go see a movie at one of those theaters at the State or the Orpheum. They weren't all turned into churches and whatever else they did to them. This was so cool back then. The only thing was if you had a car, you had to chain your hood down so the crackheads didn't steal your car battery because they get $5 for your car battery. There was a lot of itinerant type of people wandering around. True hobos come off the trains, and then you'd have a lot of drug addicts. And some of them, really nice guys like Frank, who made the franks, made the bracelets. Love that guy. There was this one guy that moved in for a while. He was a drug addict that started going downhill really quickly. And he rented 2 rooms, and he was tearing the wall down with a sledgehammer so he could have a bigger space, And I went in there, and he ran out of cocaine, and he started shooting up the plaster dust from knocking down the wall. And he got this huge abscess on his arm, like this giant egg. And they had to rush him out of here. I mean, it was so disgusting looking. I knew exactly what had happened. I've probably done something similar myself, so no judgment. But, the guy got clean. And I saw him years ago. He was doing great. There's one guy I used to always buy dope from named Virgil. And I loved that his name was Virgil because it was like the guy who takes you down to the lower realms and shows you around, Virgil. I had this pickup truck, and one day I got arrested, and I came back. There was a homeless guy living in it, and he kind of had like squatter's rights. I had no money for gas anyway, so I think he lived in it for a while. And then finally it got towed, And that was the end of that. But while I was here and I was playing gigs, I was writing songs. I had people talk to me about acting in movies, giving me movie scripts and things like that. And it was so weird because on the one hand, I was living this kind of Skid Row lifestyle. And on the other hand, I had showbiz people coming out and inviting me to step in and work with them, but I knew I couldn't do it. I was too afraid. I was way too afraid. For one thing, if you're a drug addict, you can't get too far away from the dope spot. You just can't do it. I had blues guys in Chicago ask me to go out on the road with them. I could never do it. I was too afraid to be away from the dope man. So my habit was getting kind of out of control. Plan B was suicide. If things got really bad, there's always plan B. It's kind of in the back of the mind, right? And eventually it starts becoming plan A. So when that happened, I realized I was in deep doo-doo and I had to reach out and ask somebody for help. And that's a big moment when you kind of know that whatever you've been doing ain't gonna do it, and you're not gonna think your way out of it. And I found a lot of help. I mean, L.A., there's so many musicians and actors, artistic type people that have been through the same kind of things. And I could think, well, hey, if it worked for them, maybe have a little possibility it might work for me. Somebody put me in touch with someone at Music Cares, an organization that helps get musicians into rehab. And I did that a few times before it finally took hold. By that point, I had stepped up and had an apartment with a bathroom. Somebody said, hey, you want to come, house sit for me? And the next thing I know, I was taking over the lease. When you're a junkie musician, you have to end up relying on the help of strangers a lot and the help of nice women. You're doing all these drugs and drinking, and there's this purity actually just underneath it, that there's a longing to connect with something bigger than one's own ego. And that's my take on what addiction is about. It has horrible consequences and side effects, but underneath it there's a purity of longing to connect with the world, to connect with people, to connect with an experience beyond our ego. So when I got clean, I started looking around. I looked under every rock. Where's it coming from? Where's the source? What's this all about? What's my life about? What's the point? That led me to meditation practice. And I teach meditation in a Buddhist tradition. I would say that is the center of my life, and sharing it with other people. And then for a living, I write songs, I tour as a musician, I play at tattoo shops. I do this tour where I play at tattoo shops around the country. And I act in movies. Acting in films has been good, and I'm acting in a stage musical called Ghost Brothers of Darkland County, written by John Mellencamp, Stephen King, and T-Bone Burnett does the musical direction, and that seems to kind of keep going. I got to reminiscing and ruminating, looking back at some of the ways I felt when I lived here. And when you're writing a song, sometimes the feelings of the people around you and the things they were doing, and try to encapsulate some of that was going on around me at that time. And this is called The Hotel. So here we go. The hotel stands in disrepair. The tenants, they don't seem to care. Rent is cheap and the bulbs are bare. Good light for playing solitaire. The bar is open down below. Beer is flat but the beer is cold. Good enough for rock and roll. Good enough to violate parole. Put the box in pawn again. Homie, where'd you get the blue skin? Got a monkey like a Siamese twin. Keeps the walls from closing in. Oh, oh, fix me now. Won't you fix me? Oh, oh, fix me now. Bathroom is down the hall. Share the creep, share the crawl. Leave a blood stain on the wall. Clean up with hypodermisol. Locks change, rent late. Blew the money on a little wait. Wish that bitch would turn another day. Too sick to communicate. Jimmy the door and sneak inside. Still 8 by 10 feet wide. Just enough room for a man to hide. Unless he's undersupplied. Oh, oh, fix me now, won't you fix me? Oh, oh, fix me now. Eighteenth Street, best balloon, blacker than the bottom of my spoon. Booster radio, get one soon. Run it all again in the afternoon. Cut the deck and deal the press. Pay the boss who lives upstairs. He got no friends and got no cares. Gonna throw me out next time, he swears. Shoebox amidst debris, keeps a lid on, used to be. Guitar picks and a degree in surviving disharmony. Oh, oh, fix me now, won't you fix me? Oh, oh, fix me now, fix me. Oh, fix me now, won't you? Oh, oh, fix me now.
God, that was